Hello everyone, my name's Laeticia Sevin and welcome to the International Opportunities Podcast. This series will give you an insight into our students' first-hand experiences abroad, whether that be a study exchange or work placement. From Fiji to Canada, our students have done amazing things abroad and we want to showcase that to all of you. If you're thinking about going abroad for your studies or for work, then this series will hopefully give you some inspiration, tips and advice. So today I am joined by another special guest. We have Toby Milnes in the studio. Hi Toby.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
All great.
We're acting like we've not just had a conversation
I know,
for 30 minutes.
we've been yapping for like ages.
We've had a good yap session.
Yeah.
So Toby went to Humber College on a study exchange trip. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so much earlier this year, feels like ages ago now, like January to April, I did an exchange to Humber College, a bit outside of Toronto, but basically there. And I did film production, a mixture of a few courses from first year to second year, and I loved it. And I, you kind of miss it a little bit at this point, but it was a very pivotal experience in education, but also just life.
Definitely.
I loved it.
And when did you fly out?
I flew out January 2nd, the day after New Year's. So I was not in the best. I was not
sore
in the
head
best
on the plane.
mind. Bit of a sore head. The guy on the plane next to me was snoring like the whole time.
Oh gosh. No.
It was not like the most pleasant flight. And then I got there and my accommodation's actually not ready until like January 3rd. So I had to stay over in a place near Toronto called Mississauga. And the next day come in and then you see all the exchange students and it's like, oh my, it's so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming at first, but you kind of settle in after like a few weeks very quickly.
So you literally got there the day before the welcome events and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
In fact, I think like I was like kind of, I think I missed some of the welcome events just because I was like so burnt out like easily. Yeah, so it was a crazy shock to the system at first, but like I think by a few days I was like, I'm vibing with this. This is good. Yeah.
Got there and you settled in all right. It is like the initial shock of getting there. Completely different culture. So many faces. You're like, oh.
And so tall.
Yeah.
Even in like Mississauga, which is not Toronto. I remember looking at the skyline like, whoa.
Crazy city, Mississauga. I didn't even realise how big it was until I went.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And did you stay in Etobicoke in the Humber accommodation?
Yes. It was in the Lakeshore College place. I had a nice room with Milan.
Yeah, we both know the same person. So Toby actually flew out after I got back.
Yes.
So we have shared experiences from...
shared people, yeah.
Shared people, yeah. That's the one.
And it was a nice room, but when I got there, they have a weird heating system in this building. I don't get Canada, like how because they have extreme temperature differences. Extreme cold in winter, pretty hot in summer. From what they said, haven't been there in summer myself. So their heating and their AC system is so weird that when I got into my accommodation, it was like so hot. It was boiling, and it is freezing outside. It is January, peak winter, minus whatever. And then inside I am sweating and I had that window open immediately. I was dying. I don't know what happened, but then it took days for it to actually get to a normal temperature. It was crazy.
Oh, bless you. You got there and you were just sweating.
Yeah.
They do though. They have this like weird floor systems, don't they? It's like, I don't know, the Airbnb that I was in, it had like this like weird like grid thing from the bottom of the floor that blew out the hot air.
Yeah.
It was weird, wasn't it? I nearly burnt my foot once because I had my foot like on top of it without realising, and my foot was boiling. I was like, oh, what's that? And then my landlady was like, oh, that's our heating system. Well, I've never seen that. Where's your radiators?
I don't really get how they live like in these extreme
How do you survive?
Yeah.
How did you find the weather there though? Was it bearable?
So you apparently went at a much nicer time.
It was hot when I got there. It was 30 degrees. And I got there in August and I left in December, and the coldest it got to was 0 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't even that cold. Like, it snowed a tiny little bit before I left, but...
So I went peak winter, and it was like so cold that even the Canadians were like, "Why did you come at this time?" Like it was like, it's the best time, I think. It was, I think, the coldest it got was maybe -15.
Oof, that's freezing.
I think it got to that point, especially in the night. And in March and April, it got a bit nicer. But I did like the cold in a way. There were some times when the worst thing is actually the cold breezes. Minus temperature's fine if there's no breeze. If there's a colder breeze, it can feel like -20 apparently.
Yeah.
So your face feels like it can be like freezing. But I just kind of had to, you kind of just get used to it. In like
Did you like
2
pack
months.
all your winter stuff and take it with you?
Yeah. So my luggage was a lot more like, I had a lot to take with me for like cold gear. There were some nights, there was one night out when we were planning to go to a club and we were Ubering there. So I was like, okay, we're going to go into the club and go out. I don't want to take like a big coat with me. So I'll just have a jumper. We're going to go in, take an Uber out. I don't need to worry about being cold too much. When we got there, the people from North Campus, so you got Humber College has 2 campuses, both pretty far away from each other.
They are, aren't they?
They're so far, yeah. And we had a few exchange friends from North Campus. When we met them at outside this club, they were like, "Oh, it sucks in there. It's terrible. Let's go somewhere else." And it's like, okay. We went to a bar, and they were like, "Yeah, exactly. I didn't have a jacket." I was like, "Okay, well, let's be quick because I'm gonna freeze to death out here." But it's literally, obviously it's a podcast, you can't see what I'm wearing, but I'm wearing like a very thin, like brown jumper right now. It was literally that.
Oh gosh, frozen today.
We went to a bar and then they were like, "Oh, you can't go in here, too many people." What? And then we went to Madison.
I love Madison.
Yeah, we went to Madison, but we had to go by like streetcar and then walk out. And there was a certain point when I was like, I could almost feel it going to my brain. I was like,
oh my gosh.
My friend gave me his coat and I was like, okay, I'm better now. But like, it was the coldest I think I've ever been in my life. But I got used to the cold.
That is so brave, though,
Yeah.
going out in a jumper. Jesus.
It was the cold season, but the Canadians also said, like, apparently it's one of the warmest winters they've ever had, which was crazy. And yeah, one of my professors was like, "Oh yeah, like it's I'm always like treading through like feet in snow. Like sometimes we have to shut up the college because it's so thick." And it's like,
It's mad, isn't it?
what? This is like
They're just built for it, though, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
their cars, the roads are built for it. Like,
Yeah.
they just have, like, a whole system in place to make
Yeah.
sure that you can get about.
like, traverse and stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved the snow. I also did actually just love the wintry atmosphere of it. Like, as cold as it was, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, don't go because it's too cold in January and February." It's like, it's a nice aesthetic, I think.
I have a bit of FOMO from that because I feel like Canada's known for its big winters, and I was like, I didn't get to see the winter.
Yeah.
But I went to, Banff in
Yes,
Alberta. That was
yes.
like -15 degrees, so I got like a taste of what it
you
would
got
be
a
like.
taste, yeah. Was it fun?
It was amazing. It
Yeah.
was out of season, so like we couldn't do all of the activities that you get to do, like horse riding and
Yeah.
canoeing and all that. But we hired a car and we just went and saw all the lakes and just drove around Banff, and it was
Aw.
absolutely stunning.
I had a weird trip. Should I talk about my reading week now, or should I save it for later?
Should we save it?
Let's save it.
I've got,
okay,
yeah,
'cause
right, okay.
That relates to the cold.
We are top yappers, by the way.
We're
We've
top
not got to the
yappers.
first question yet, so that's how much we yap.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so first of all, we'll move on to some fabulous experiences after, but can you just walk us through the film production course at Humber? What modules they mapped you onto?
So it's a lot different to what we have in Salford. We got 3 years, they got 4 years.
4 years?
They have 4 years to do their course, and that means they have a lot more time to learn. From a fundamental basis, how I've described it to people here and there is the difference between these two unis is Salford, you're you're kind of like, in film at least, they teach you like how a mother bird teaches their baby bird to fly. Just push you out, see if you fly.
Yeah.
And that is still a valid way of teaching, kind of gets you ready for the industry very quickly. Humber actually like lets you learn how to ride a bike, right? And takes off the stabilizers and lets you, find your way. And I think for the second year classes I did, because I did a mixture of first and second year, they felt quite confident in their ability from second year, which is interesting. And by fourth year, like from the work I saw, it was like, oh, that's pretty confident. And they know how like a film set works and all the production roles and all the legal stuff as well. So I did Film and Media Essentials, which is, it was a first year course teaching you the fundamentals of film.
Right.
Similar to a lot of stuff that we have in first year at Salford. With that one, we did some documentary filmmaking, some in-class assignments, some essays, and some other little short films. It was kind of fun going back for my in second year, almost going back to how do you make a film, and like almost going back to what I've learned and being like, okay, interesting. This is more about how lighting works. It actually felt quite in depth, and the classes were quite intimate, and everyone got along well. Screenwriting was also a first year class, and that was great. We had a British lecturer, so me and him got on like super well. He showed a British short film at one point, and we were looking at each other like, yeah, this is what we're like.
Get it done.
Brits get it done. That was a really nice one because it was very like expressive. People were just showing their work, openly talking with each other. I wrote some stuff that I'm really happy with in it, and then production management was a second year course. This was a big course. This is like, how does this industry work? Paperwork, lots of paperwork. So for a lot of Salford students that I know, they would hate this course because it is all the stuff in film that is not fun at all. But it's also some of the most important stuff. And what I really admired about that was like focused on like health and safety and how important it is, and telling us stories and anecdotes of when things go wrong. And lots of legal stuff, lots of financial stuff. It was a lot to take in, and I don't even know how much I did take in. It's kind of hard to measure, but it's one of the most important courses I've done. Oh, directing drama. This is my least favourite of the courses. But it was still useful. Like, I learned how to write through improv, which is an interesting skill.
Write through improv?
It's you give each other notes, or as a group, you write down some notes on how to, like, on a scene, like, here's this character, here's what they want, here's this character and what they want, and then you improvise it, you record it, you take that script, make some changes, and there's your scene. So it's a really interesting way of writing. It's also a way of writing not many people do, so it was an annoying assessment. And the assignments weren't great and kind of annoying to do, but I felt like I understood how to do a lot of the, like, how to direct people, what you should say, what you shouldn't say. Yeah.
Definitely. And it's just different skills in different areas as well.
It is. I got a really nice mix between practical and not practical in the courses.
And how did the course structure differentiate to Salford? How can you compare the experience?
Course structure. I don't even know if we had more or less time. It felt like it was such constant work, but not like an insane amount of work. You almost like you got to do the readings. That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the courses you get tested on the readings, so you got to do them. There are a lot more on that, but you're also given like little like production management. It's like, okay, can you do a call sheet and give it into next week? So you got to do that. Okay, great. Now can you do some risk assessment stuff? Okay, great. I'll do that. You know, it's like every week you're given a smaller task to submit that goes towards your final grade.
Right.
And another difference is because there's so many different assignments instead of just like 2 that we're given, there's actually more room for like error, but there's also more room to like pick yourself back up. If you fail one assignment in Salford, which is hard to do, I think, because it's like 40 the pass mark for film production. If you fail, like, you have to either redo the year or redo a term or something, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of the courses there, if you failed an assignment, that's fine. Just do better on the next one. Like, it's a lot more work, but it's like kind of it's useful with how it's constructed. I think, of just feeding you stuff and keeping you busy. But and yeah, it did get pretty stressful at certain points, especially with the practical assignments. But I always kind of like felt in my element. I think during it. Yeah.
Good. So it's a manageable workload then.
I think so. Yeah. It's you're going to go there to work, obviously. The film is always going to be a stressful course, no matter what. But it's definitely different to how Salford works, and I feel like I've been less stressed at Humber than some work I've had at Salford, I think, is a good way of saying it, yeah.
Definitely. Did you pick up any specific skills or techniques at Humber that will influence your future work in film?
I'd say screenwriting, like, that was part, like, in uni I've kind of realised I want to do screenwriting more and more and more, but screenwriting in Humber was definitely a big confidence booster, I think, with how that course worked, and because everyone's just like throwing off our ideas and bouncing, and people are like, oh, like, because they're so positive there, they're like, oh, that's really cool, maybe you should do that and then that. Whereas in England we're a lot more like closed off, and we're all kind of scared about showing our work and stuff.
People are quiet in class here, but in Humber they're like, hello.
Oh yeah, they're so expressive. And I think confidence in general, they are, like we said, they're so extroverted there.
Yeah.
That you can just yap with everyone, and you kind of everyone is great to collaborate with. I found in group projects there's not many people who don't pull their weight. It helped, like, collaboration skills and communication, everyone's kind of on it, and I think that just helped with film in general, because film is so collaborative. It's like, this is how you work on even like paperwork together, right? So I think it really helped with like also like how the industry works, how screenwriting works. It helps me kind of get my bearings around this industry that I'd quite like to get into.
What was your favourite project that you collaborated on?
We made a documentary about like this medical fitness centre. It sounds so boring, but it was a really fun shoot, and I've never thought I'd have fun on a documentary, but just getting the B-roll of this like gym and just kind of messing about was actually kind of fun. That writing through improv assignment, we had to film it at the end, and it's a pretty funny short, and we just shot it by a river. That was kind of fun. I feel like I can go through like a lot of them. Oh, we did, okay, in class we did this group assignment. It had to be like a minute or something long, and it was something so stupid of an idea that we came up with, of like, two guys are in the void. I acted in it with a friend. Two people are in a void, and they have a plate of cookies, and then lights go off, and on again, a cookie's missing. And we just had and then we had this guy in a cookie monster like costume, just like be like, yeah, someone really needs to admit like what's going on with this, you know, like this. It was kind of like, they were so simple, the little projects, right? And it was all fun, despite it actually being like assignment-based work. Yeah.
And did you get the chance to experiment with any new film genres or styles during your time there?
Documentary I've not done before, and I think
was that your first time?
Yeah, first time documentary, and it was documentary filmmaking was actually interesting to study, because our lecturer was a documentary filmmaker. He came at it with that perspective. He was like, you need so much B-roll. You need a whole day for B-roll. You need to just film anything. You're probably going to use it, right? And it's such a different format to film that I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And like studying documentary and stuff, it was almost like a documentary course that I did. And I guess like comedy, just like messing about sometimes with just simple premises. I think everything I did was pretty much comedic. We didn't have like great equipment compared to Salford, but also Salford is amazing in terms of equipment. So it meant it was all very much like low budget guerrilla shoots for first and second year. Apparently, if you were to do third and fourth year courses at Humber, they're a lot more like, okay, we're professional now. North has like the money.
Siraj, I think, got to go to the North campus and do some TV stuff there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he
never told
mentioned
me
in
that.
the podcast episode that I did with him. I'm pretty sure he said he went to the North campus. And
He went on so many adventures.
He is a side quest guy.
Like, I went on a few nights with him, and he's great, but he was always like off at random places doing things. We saw Amelia de Moldenberg at North Campus with him. Yeah.
Stop.
She had an amazing talk, and she wasn't even that funny. She just did a serious business talk, and it was like, this is fascinating.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
I saw that actually. It was advertised in Humber before I left, I think, that she was coming for a talk. I swear I saw something about her
Siraj
coming.
met her. Because he went there super early, and I couldn't because I had a lesson. But anyway, yeah.
That's the thing though, Humber, they introduced you to some great connections. Did you feel like that when you were there?
Yeah, I've recently literally like talked to my screenwriting lecturer and like sent a script and be like, what do you think about this? But the fact that they have a lot of talks.
Yeah.
They do a lot of talks there, which is great. But the fact that I have Canadian friends on the other side of the pond is great in terms of like connections, I think.
100%.
And I think it is good for industry stuff. I mean, film's always like a hard industry to get into, but they have a great amount of people like coming in to give industry talks. The lecturers have all done stuff. My production manager was like, my production management lecturer was a production manager on set. Did so many great important things. So yeah, I think Humber is good for industry, for film, definitely.
Yeah, it's quite similar to Salford, where most of the lecturers are working professionals already in the industry.
Yeah, they know their stuff.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
And they're so brutally honest over there about stuff as well, I feel.
Oh God, they are. Yeah, like, my production management teacher gave me some advice that I've taken home. I've taken here and I've passed on to other people. I'm like, this is such good advice. If there is a set where you feel like something is wrong, like something unsafe is happening, people are shooting on a rooftop of a building without permits, right? Or you're going way over time, people haven't had their breaks or whatever, walk. You have the right to walk off that set because it's an unsafe work environment. Yeah.
That's exactly what I learned in Humber. I remember my teacher Christine said that to us. She was like, if you're ever uncomfortable, anything that's wrong, and you don't feel you're being listened to, just walk away. You don't need to be there. That's literally the same advice I got.
We learnt about union rights as well.
Yeah, we don't learn about that here. Like,
it's so important to respect. If you're a union worker, you need to know like what are their rights. Okay, changing rooms, pay, hours, closed sets during intimate scenes. All of this stuff is so important, and I'm kind of like, I hope Salford actually pick up some of that here. Like, because like I've I heard nightmare stories on the film course of like this person filmed on a motorway, and it's like, that is not okay, and you need to be safe.
You can't just be going and filming on a motorway.
Yeah, no, it's almost no risk assessment or whatever. It's just like, that's not safe.
It's stuff you need to learn though, because over there as well, they've got a whole different system when you work for yourself with taxing and things. And we had one lecturer, actually Christine again, shout out to Christine, she was great. She hosted a lecture once a week, just all about financing, how to manage as an independent artist. And she went into detail on taxing, everything, risk assessments, everything. And it's something that I've never
thought about. Yeah. It's important stuff going on there. Those Canadians are getting it right.
They go in depth.
They go in depth because they have. How long was your course?
It was same as you, so I think it was from September to December.
Okay.
So 4 months, 4 months. Yeah, just a semester.
Is it a 3-year course in total for it? Or?
They only do 2 years there. It was acting, TV and film that I was mapped onto.
And they still squeeze in all that stuff?
Yeah, so we did combat, dance, voiceovers, finance, like I had 5 different modules. But it was easy, like it wasn't hard.
Yeah, you do have more modules there than here, because our credits are different to their credits. I'd still say it's like pretty much an equal amount of work to what you have in second and third year of Salford for film. Like it is, it might be like, oh no, I'm doing more modules than I'm normally prepared to, but it's like, okay, well, screenwriting's kind of breezy. Like if you can write well, you're fine. Production management, you just got to get your work on time. Like they're fine with that, and they're in depth. So for 4 years in film, like I think you'll get a good like range of knowledge.
Yeah,
really.
100%. They give you literally all the tools you need. I was a bit gutted because, like you said, you got to do fundamentals of film. There was a first year course that was fundamentals, but they just put me on with second years. So they'd all had the fundamentals of acting and everything like that. So I did feel a little bit like, oh no, I'm out of sorts, but they quickly got me up to speed and everything. And they're so welcoming and supportive there as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so nice.
They're literally like, don't worry, everything's fine.
Don't worry, you're fine, everyone's fine, we're fine, you know? Yeah. They are supportive there, I think. They've got a nice support network. And that, your classmates are friendly. Like, I mean, I don't know, was everyone friendly on your course?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, at the end of lessons, we were just saying before, weren't we, like, you want to go and speak to your teacher, and there's a queue of people all, like, chatting to the teacher, like, oh my gosh, it was such a good class, thank you so much, and, like, everybody's so...
I'd, like, fist bumping the teacher, like...
Best friends.
I was also saying, like, we asked our scriptwriting lecturer on a night out, at one point. He didn't actually come with us, but he was considering it, and I believed him. I don't think he was like... He might have.
He was there spiritually.
But like the fact that a student just went up to a lecturer and said, "Yo, Nathan, you wanna come drink?" You
They're
know,
all like your best friends though, honestly. Like I remember
Yeah.
Christine, who I was telling you about before, she was like everybody's best friend. Like she cried, laughed with us, like everything. Like she was such a good support system. Like she was amazing with and everybody would just go up to her at the end of the day and give her a massive hug. Like she was literally like a mum to everybody.
I did feel emotional saying bye to my lecturers.
Yeah, it's
like,
sad, isn't it?
And it's crazy because like I only knew you for a term.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I'm like, why am I crying? Like, stop.
You're crying. Yeah.
What were some of the most rewarding aspects of living in Toronto while studying?
Definitely, like, obviously, like, easy question, my friends, right? You know, not just like obviously like the exchange students, because they're in the similar boat to you. I don't think it's not the same experience for everyone, obviously, but a lot of people are like, my exchange friends, you know, like I love them so much. But also my Canadian friends, who I hope to see again soon. I hope to actually go back and see them because you feel homely very quickly, I found, in Toronto. Because it's such a diverse international city that people, like in Humber especially, which is very international, people are like so accepting to you. And like, even though I was the weird British guy, like I remember my first ever like lesson in film production. I put my hand up and said something, and everyone's like,
everybody turns around.
like,
I'm so glad we have that shared experience because literally everybody in the class was like, oh my god,
British, you know.
you're British.
And like obviously they ask you a lot of questions, like a smorgasbord of questions, like about what British life is. But very quickly they're like, oh, it's Toby, you know, it's chill, he lives here. And like even in the accommodation, like the living standards. I liked the Humber accommodation. I know people always complained about it, because of course you do. Everyone loves to complain about everything. But the common rooms are just hanging out with your friends.
It's nice for film nights and.
It's so good for film nights. I think I did a Hunger Games simulator one night in one of the rooms. I think it was in the study room. Sorry if people wanted to actually. It's like you put your friends in. Do you know what it is?
No, I know what Hunger Games is.
Yeah, it's
but
like
not the simulator.
It's like this website when you it like simulates a Hunger Games game based on prompts. So you put in like, let's say Laeticia District 1 with Toby District 1, right? And then it will say like Laeticia falls out of a tree or Toby kills someone, right? And it's so funny. And that was just like one night, for example, you know.
I've never played that.
It's so fun. But it's still like a student experience. It's not like I was living independently in Canada. It's not like I had a lovely luxurious like flat, right? It's student accommodation, but it's homely student accommodation.
Yeah.
You also get a meal plan as well at Humber. Apparently they're making changes to it, because I don't know what your experience was like. It was.
Yeah, I won't say too much, but I didn't like the food that much on the campus. There were some good choices. Like there were some places where I was like, okay, I can eat here.
But I guess it's nice they give you like, you just scan a card to like
I think that's
get food.
Easy.
But it isn't completely, like, you know, we go to Tesco's every day, right? When I did a shop at Walmart, it was expensive, so you kind of it's nice to have like a meal plan. So it's like, okay, let's just go down to the cafeteria, get some food.
Just easier.
They are changes are happening, because I you know, it wasn't like completely amazing when we went, but the system they have is quite nice to have, I think.
Definitely.
So I never really like struggled for food, definitely, like.
Good.
That's good, I think, as a uni experience.
Yeah, you should not struggle for food.
Yeah, but I did love living there. Great friends, nice area, also safe area.
Yeah,
really
it's
nice,
quite safe,
beautiful. You're right by Lake Ontario, which is massive. It's like a sea. Really beautiful place. Yeah, I love living there. Yeah.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Go for a little walk by the lake on your break.
Saw the eclipse by the lake.
Saw the eclipse.
Yeah, because there was an eclipse. March, I think, nearly a total eclipse. Apparently by Niagara it was total eclipse, and it looked so cloudy, and we were so bummed, like, oh my gosh, this is a once in a lifetime. The other exchange students went into downtown to see it, and they had like blue skies. Humber was covered in clouds, And then we're like, oh, we're going to miss it. And then suddenly, like, I look up and I see, like, the clouds parting, and it's like, the eclipse! Yeah.
Did you keep your glasses on?
Yeah, I did. My friends didn't, for some reason, at points.
What?
They were like, they just lifted it up, like, whoa! And then, like, they were, like, complaining later, like, Dobby, I have such a headache. And it's like...
That's really bad for you.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
This is the one thing you're not meant to do.
That's literally the number one rule of seeing an eclipse is to keep your bloody glasses on.
You do get tempted though, like even at points I was like, oh, I do want to see it with my own eyes.
My friend called me and she was like, I accidentally took them off for 1 second. It was literally just 1 second, but I'm so scared that I'm going to be blind now. It's like, well, you're an idiot. You should have kept them on. But it is like an intrusive thought, isn't it? You just want to rip them off.
Yeah, and I guess also about living, there's a lot of events going on. You had the Toronto Islands open, didn't you?
Yeah, I was
Lucky.
So good. What was it closed?
It was closed. I think it opens like late April. However, late April's when, for us at least, people are doing their trips and stuff. So if you're planning on going to Humber, like obviously if you want to see like the city actually come to life, maybe do September to December. But you can stick it out until May, I believe. You can extend your accommodation into the summer a little bit. I think it's a bit more pricey, but if you want to see like summer in the city almost, or just a brief taste of it in the term that I went, you can still do that. But I wish I saw the Toronto Islands.
Honestly, the summer was amazing there. I didn't expect it. Like, I thought it was just going to be cold from the get-go. And I got there and it was like Toronto Islands. There's like a little beach in Toronto as well.
Milan showed me videos and I'm like,
We went to the nudist beach on our first week there. There's a nudist beach
What?
on Toronto Island. Yeah, we went straight there.
I
Didn't tell Milan it was nudist.
I 100% agree. That's like instant.
It was so great, and we went like a big group of exchange students, and everybody like didn't know it was a nudist beach, and then we got there and they were like just men walking past with everything out, and then I was like, yeah, it's a nudist beach, and they were like, what?
My exchange friends like that. If we heard that, we were going there. We went to a Hooters like near the end, and that was like in downtown.
No way.
It was like one of our checklists. We were like near the end. We were like, guys, we just have to go to Hooters. Okay, we just have to see it. I was the only guy there in the group.
So do you feel that this exchange has influenced your future career path or goals in film production? You mentioned a bit about screenwriting.
Yeah, I'd say, like I said, I'm very set on screenwriting now. Yeah. I'm also like Canada sometimes like beckons for me. It's like I can go to sleep and it's like, come here.
Come back.
You know? It's in my dreams sometimes. It's weird. It's crazy. It's like I wake up and I'm like, you know.
It's so sad, isn't it?
It's so sad. But like, I'd like to move to Canada in the future. I think they have an awesome film scene. I think Vancouver especially is apparently like really good for film because America's really expensive to film. So the attractive places in the world for big Hollywood studios to actually film their big stuff or whatever is Canada, England with Pinewood that we've got down here, and Australia, and I think New Zealand, but and South Africa, but that's not a great place to film. But it's like tax rates and stuff. So the film industry in Canada is very, very strong, and my Canadian friends probably will get hired quite quickly.
Oh, definitely. One of my friends has just been booked already for gigs.
Really?
And she's just finished. Yeah, she finished when I came back and I did my second semester. She was finishing. Yep, she's already been booked for a commercial, getting like $3,000 for it.
That's
insane. But it's our campus at Lakeshore. They filmed like Suicide Squad, Handmaid's Tale, like
Police Academy films. They film a lot there. It's a nice location. It is just such a nice place for the film industry. So for a film like perspective, you've got all these options obviously on the international page. And Canada, any Canadian option, any American option, any option's great. But for film, Toronto is pretty awesome, you know, very aesthetically pleasing, and I think a lot more films are going to be made in Toronto in the future. I think it is a big up-and-coming place, and I mean, I considered doing a master's there. I think it's not really realistic, I don't think, feasible, but the fact that I considered, like, I would go back here to do screenwriting is awesome, and yeah, I think that is the pipe dream at the moment.
Is it?
And get a bit of money, go back to Canada, because I always thought Canada would be a cool place to visit, and it is. And I want to go back.
I want to live there now.
I want to live there now. It's not enough. I mean, it is an expensive city. Like, you can skate by as a student. Like, I had a Scottish friend called Gregor who, like, I don't even know how he got by in Canada. Like, he came in, like, with not a lot from Aberdeen, and then he still got by just about.
That was me. I was broke the whole time I was there. I should have brought more money.
Yeah, so, you know, it is expensive. So obviously career path, it's like, I'm going to need a bit of money to actually go there, but it's attractive, and I think I have learned a lot about, like, not only do I want to do screenwriting, I'd like to write in Britain, obviously, but pipe dream, like, write in Toronto, go into the studio system, you know.
Definitely. Oh, that would be so cool.
That would be so awesome. That's pipe dream.
I'm what do you call it? What is the word? Manifesting for you. I couldn't think of the word then. I was like, what's the word? I'm manifesting it for you. I can see you doing that 100%. And they love the British accent there as well, so people will be like, I'll hire
love
you.
it. They'll be like, oh, he's smart.
It's just an accent hire.
Exactly. I could like give the most boring nothing script, and then but I can be British.
I'll do it in my British accent.
British accent.
Water bottle.
Water bottle.
I'm still scarred for life from everybody asking me to say that.
Can you say bottle of water? And it's like bottle of water. No, don't say it like that.
It's so weird though, isn't it? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing until I went there.
It's like a big meme. They're just like, oh, they think the two accents in England is Queen's English, basically, or like a very posh London accent, or Cockney.
Yeah, why did they think we're Cockney? Like, my friend Amanda, she's an actor, and her bloody English accent, I was like, girl, you're great at accents.
Top of the morning to you, you know, that kind of thing.
Like, oh, right, no problem. I'm like,
It's apparently, like, English accents are hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know why, though.
And I don't know either, but we have, I don't know if we have the most amount of accents in the world, the whole of the UK.
Yeah, we have a
but
lot, to be fair.
It's very high, like, the range of accents, like, you know, no. I don't even know if a Canadian can do a Liverpool accent. Like, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
I met a guy once, so this is going a bit off topic.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when we say we're yappers, right?
We're yappers.
When I was going to Florida once, I met a guy on the plane, and he had an American accent, but also Geordie.
What?
So he lived in Florida for like 15 years, but he also had a Geordie accent. And I was like, where's your accent from? That's mad. And he was like, oh, I'm Geordie, but I'm also been living in America. Crazy. I couldn't even do an impression of it. It was crazy.
On Halloween, I met someone at a party who is English, but on their summers, like, works in America or something. Amazing, awesome thing. I think they're in like San Antonio or something. They have the weirdest accent because it is both English and American, like Southern American. It's like,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad. I mean, I had an accent coach when I was there, and he was like, honestly, just do like a general North American accent. It doesn't matter, like, because everybody is so international and they're mobile now. Like, everybody moves all over the world, so like accents are starting to become completely different to what they ever were.
I feel like people have said that I've picked up Canadianisms.
I said groceries yesterday.
You're still on the grocery chain? I was with a friend, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, the tram was passing by, and I was like, oh yeah, right, should we take the streetcar? And I was like, oh no, I sound so stupid. Because streetcar sounds so stupid. Because it's not a car. It's a tram.
It's so random that. I didn't even know that was a word until I went, and they were like, the streetcar?
I don't even mind, like, people would call them, like, the trolleys, like trolley trains.
The trolley train.
I feel
like that.
I like that more than streetcars. It's stupid.
Like,
stupid
cars are on the street, so how is it a streetcar?
Exactly. Exactly.
Who came up with that? Honestly.
Yeah.
Cars are on the street. So how has this experience changed or shaped you outside of film production?
Ooh.
As a person?
As a person, it was a big growing experience, definitely. Because I used to be very, like, insecure about, you know, going places, I guess. I was, you know, as you can tell from my accent, I'm a southerner, right? You know, and I was very like, oh, I like it around London. So even going to Manchester to study here was a big step. Like, that first year was crazy for me, but I still knew I wanted to do this exchange. And going into it, it was, you know, I said, like, it was a big shock to the system when you go there, but like hyping yourself up, like, I can do this, right? 4 months outside of this country is the longest I've ever been outside of this country. It's going to be weird. But I settled almost within the first month. And like I had family visit me, which was nice. But
lovely.
it was like, for them, it felt like it was more emotional saying bye than me. Because I'm like, oh, you'll see you in a bit, bye. But it also kind of, on a more philosophical level, kind of makes me appreciate time and how quickly time moves.
Oh gosh, yeah.
4 months is nothing in our lives. So, like, hopefully I live to like a great age of 80 or something. So, and this would be the smallest percent of my life. But it is such an important percent. Like I made so many connections and met so many wonderful people, and it is like, I hope I do see you again. I just don't know when or if, and it's sad. It's sad saying bye, and it's about making the most of the time that you have, because you almost live a separate life.
Yeah.
I did not know anyone. I'm sure there's like some people who have like, oh, I have a friend going with me on the exchange. That's lovely. Obviously, like Siraj is here. You went. I heard about you.
Yeah.
And Joshua as well. I haven't seen him yet, but he's around. But I went knowing no one, and then I lived a Canadian life for a little bit with some great people, and then I came back, and that's that. And I think it is, it's about appreciating the time that you have and living in the present. I felt like there was a certain point, I think around probably halfway through February, like, oh my gosh, I'm here already. This is going to go by so quickly. I just need to take it all. Even when it's like deadlines that I have, right, for work, and I'm like, I just want to skip to when this is done, because everyone does that with the deadline.
Yeah,
like,
you don't think
I just want this to be over. Let's just do this, right? Even that, I'm like, no, I'm actually even going to miss doing this, right? So it's something that I'm obviously, from talking about it, very nostalgic on, but it's special also because, you don't have it anymore. Because it was so brief. Like, maybe if I did a full year, I'd be like, yeah, I hated it. Like, I
Honestly,
don't know.
I was like, please, can I stay on for an extra, like, semester? And I tried to stay there longer because I just did not want to go home. It goes so quickly.
I had a friend, Tegan, who went to Chicago, and she, because their uni, I think, was less international, because a lot of my friends that I made, they lived in, like, Brazil or Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where do you go on holiday? You probably go back home or try and find somewhere around Toronto. So I couldn't like explore more of Canada, like just kind of hitchhike along with friends. But my friend Tegan, she did, and she got to see a lot of America weeks after her study, and went there for probably a bit longer than me. And I'd love to do that. I wish I had more time, but the lack of time makes it special.
Yeah, because did you just get like 1 week off in reading week? From studying.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
me too.
Oh, that reading week. Even that week was an important part. Is this a good time to talk about the reading week?
What did you do? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Have I ever mentioned this?
No.
I don't think so. So
no, we've not spoken about it.
Before going, me and my dad were talking about like, okay, where's a good place to travel? Because you shouldn't just stay in Toronto. Like, obviously you got to fork out some money, but you want to go places, and there are a lot of places. Like Montreal, Vancouver, and when we were talking to friends, they were like, "Oh, I had two of my closest friends went to LA. A lot of my friends went to Cancun in Mexico. I think Milan went to Mexico.
Yeah, you went to Mexico with Alice.
And a lot of them were going. They're like, "Toby, come with us," And it's like, I don't know, because I wanted to stay in Canada, and me and my dad both liked. He was saying you should go to Nova Scotia or Newfoundland.
Oh,
right.
I've not heard anyone go to those in reading week. It was always like literally Mexico, like Banff, like New York, Montreal.
Go to the places that no one wants to go to.
Such a good idea,
because
though.
Newfoundland, this is. I'm a little bit of a theatre nerd. Heads up. There's a musical there set there called Come From Away, which is set during 9/11. Basically, all the planes around America, Canada, they need someplace to land, and all the airspaces are shut because of 9/11. So, in Newfoundland, it's to the northeast of Canada, like an island east of Montreal and Nova Scotia. Big rock in the middle of nowhere. Not many people live there. very small Canadian-Irish population. There is a little town called Gander in the middle of nowhere, and they had a big airport for years and years and years that was used for like military stuff, and it's a very important historical airport for like connecting the world and fuel and stuff.
Cool.
But during 9/11, all these planes had to land somewhere. Turns out Gander and like some others were the only places available, right, to land, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people from all over the world landed in Gander in Newfoundland in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, right? And that's what this musical was based on, like people from all over coming together and the joys of humanity in one of the darkest times of humanity.
Sounds amazing.
It's honestly one of my favorites. So we were like kind of, it was almost like a joke at first when we were talking like, where do I go? Like Gander, Newfoundland, you know. And then I was kind of like, no, I like the sound of that. Let's do that. And I looked at pricing and how to do it, and I was like, let's do solo traveling. And it was a crazy trip. I guess to abbreviate it, it's hard to abbreviate it, but I flew from Toronto to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then I took a taxi, because there's no other way to get there apart from like a bus that goes once a day, to a town called Lunenburg, which is one of the most beautiful towns that I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It is a seaside, beautiful fishing town. I stayed in like a little B&B place in this adorable little room, a lovely coast. It was blue skies mostly when I was there, and despite it being really cold. And I remember going to a bar, like, well, I guess I've got to socialise, right, with the locals there. Like, that's what you do when you solo travel, I guess. I went to a bar, and I sat down, and I was like, hey, I'd like a drink. And they were like, you're not from around here, are you? And it's like, nope. What are you doing here? It's February. They are big for tourism in the spring because it's a really attractive place to go in Canada. It's beautiful. I think for some reason Diana went there, and I was there for no reason whatsoever. I'm like, I don't know, I was on my reading week, why not? And I'm like, okay, great. But lovely chat with people. I like spoke to some really friendly people there who just were wanting to talk about different walks of life, and they're like, what's your story? What's your story? You know?
I love that.
Went over to Halifax for a day, stayed over. It was nice little, it was like a mini city. It was really weird. Like, if you think Manchester's small, Halifax is such a weird little city. It's like an actual city, but it's like it's so small, like the perimeter of it. It's crazy.
I've never heard of it.
I know we have a Halifax here in England.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. Right? I was like, am I being dumb right now?
No. It's I think it's the capital of Nova Scotia. But Nova Scotia is a really nice province. And then I flew from Halifax to Gander.
Oh wow.
And it is a propeller plane that I went on.
Oh, they're scary.
It felt like it's terrifying. I'm looking out the window and there's the propeller.
How is this flying?
And on these tiny little planes, like every time you turn, it's like, oh, I feel it.
Yeah.
And I would look down beneath me, and it's just like a sea of snow. It was beautiful. And then Gander, there was nothing to do. There was nothing to do. I went to a bar, spoke to locals. They were very friendly as well. And I just kind of looked around, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of people went here, and the town just let them all in and just like and accommodated for all of them and was super friendly. So I learned more about the history. I went to some museums. It's so remote that one of the things that locals do is they go to the airport to the bar there, right? It's that remote. And then after that night, I took a bus, and I was heading to St. John's, which is also, like, when people say, go to Canada, here's some of the most beautiful places, St. John's is there. But I had the idea to, okay, let's stop over for the night, let's just break it up. Let's break up the trip. And there was a town called Clarenville on the way. And I remember when I was speaking to those people in Lunenburg at that bar, they were like, like, where are you going? And I mentioned Clarenville, and they're like, why are you staying there? Like, we're Newfoundlanders, like, why are you going there? There's literally nothing to do. It's like, well, you stop over for gas. And it's like, well, I'm going there anyway. I'll find something. I'll find a bar. Like, because everyone's been so friendly already. And I got there, and there was nothing to do. And it literally, like I said, there's nothing to do at Gander. It is a place to stop off for gas. The next morning, I went over to a place to get some food, and I had to wait for the coach to come again and like take me over. So I had a lot of time to kill. And by the way, during this whole trip, I'm carrying this travel bag, and I am in this gas town. I come out of this diner and I see how long I have to walk to the bus stop, and I'm like, it's like an hour 10 walk. That's
Really?
so long. Like, I've got to carry this heavy bag the whole time. So I go to a Walmart and I steal a shopping trolley. And I pop the travel bag in the shopping trolley, and I go along the road like.
Stop.
So I'm going along this busy road with all these like SUVs and trucks like by, as I'm just hopping along with the shopping trolley that I stole, and then I see a police car come, and I'm like, oh. No, I stole this shopping trolley. There's probably not much happening in Clarenville, so they're probably what's gonna happen, right? And then he pulls over and he's like, hey, what you doing? And then I'm like, I told him what I was doing. He was like, oh, right. Do you want to ride?
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, what do I do with the shopping trolley? And then he was like, just leave it to the side, it's fine.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm in the back of a police car. I video it. I put it on my story. He takes me to the bus stop, and I carry on heading to St. John's. And on the ride, by the way, when you're going through Newfoundland, because there's almost no life there, when you look out during nighttime, it's just darkness and trees and nothing around. It's weird.
I bet it's kind of spooky in a
It
way.
is spooky. You're just looking outside trying to see any signs of life.
Inspiration for writing there as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was thinking, Newfoundland film. Also, on my mum texted me like, "Why were you in a police car? What the hell?"
You got to scare everybody with that.
But I was like laughing in the video and stuff. But people, I guess, watched it without sound, so they're like, "Toby got arrested. What the heck?" But I'm just there like, "Oh wow, look how good this
He's
is."
got caught stealing the shopping trolley.
And yeah, I went to St. John's. It was lovely. Lovely town, lovely people. Very Irish population. That was fun.
There's a lot of Irish people in Canada, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, isn't it? When I went to Banff, it was all Australians and Irish people.
Irish people got the heck out of Ireland during like the 1800s, I think. So a lot of Irish heritage is in North America. But it was beautiful, and I went to like one of the most eastern points of the US, which Northern America, which is awesome. It was stunning. Very snowy this whole trip, by the way. I am like traversing through like mountainous snow sometimes. So when we came back from reading week, everyone was saying that like, oh, I was partying up in Mexico, like, oh yeah, we went to LA, went to a theme park, and I'm like, well, I walked through a lot of snow. That's what I did.
But that's so cool though, because everybody that I've interviewed, no offense to everyone that I've interviewed, but everybody went to like New York or Montreal, so it's nice to hear somebody go somewhere different and want to actually learn something and go on a little adventure.
That's kind of back to the thing of like people and stuff. I almost found like just talking to wherever. I had an emotional moment actually in St. John's in Newfoundland. I'm in the other side. The other side of the Atlantic from the UK, and I go to a bar in this. I had a taxi driver friend. He was just like, "Call me around if you need a lift." He was so friendly. And I went to a bar, and then there's a band playing, and then they start playing Mr. Brightside, which is, if you've ever gone 42s or any club in Manchester, they're always playing Mr. Brightside. And I got like, for real emotional, like here I am in the middle of nowhere, and these people are playing a song that like holds a lot of dear to me. I don't know. It's you really love people on those like weird little solo trips.
It's weird, isn't it? Like on the plane to Banff, I sat on my own. Me and my friend had separate seats on the flight, and it was so weird, right? Sorry, I'm yapping.
We are yapping. I don't know how off track I went with that whole
absolutely
story.
Fine. I hope you're all enjoying this, because we're going to yap more.
We're going to yap even more.
We're going to yap a little bit more. Let me tell you something. So I got on a plane to Banff, and I met a film director, and it was funny because I was sat next to him. We were both looking at scripts on our phones, right? He was on a script, and I was on a script, and we were just like, hey, and like we just eventually got talking. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I write scripts, I do filmmaking. And he was like, I'm actually going to Winnipeg to do some filming. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. And he was like, what do you do? I was like, oh, well, I'm an actor and I'm currently here for like a study exchange. I told him a bit about me. And anyway, I was like, so what are you writing a script on? Because he was working on a script. And how weird is this, right? So at this time, I was having really big like lucid dreams, and I was writing them down in a dream journal. I was writing all my dreams down, and I've been doing it for months at this point, and I had a whole dream journal. And anyway, this guy turns around, he's like, I'm writing a play about a woman who has lucid dreams. And it was so weird. Like,
were you like,
we were literally like practically hugging by the end of the flight. We were like became like such good friends, and we just chatted and chatted, and we had it was a 5-hour flight to Banff, and we didn't shut up for the whole flight. Like we got on so well, we exchanged contact details. I still like message him now. And it was just such a crazy connection. Like it was
sitting
so
next to the director on the airplane is a dream. I yapped to the lady, but it was just a random like professor from another uni. We were talked for the whole 2.5-hour flight, like straight. In fact, there was one point when I'm like, I'm so sorry, I need the toilet so badly. Of course, almost no breathing room. I think I'd like at one point I was like, I am not putting on music. This is the flight now. Yeah. Conversation, straight plain conversation, which I've never had.
They're the best kind of flights, though. I think you can meet some like really interesting people on the flights. Like on the way to Toronto, have you heard of the Sheepdogs? They're a band.
No, I haven't. No.
Well, they're like a country band.
Yeah.
And I met the lead singer. I was sat next to him for the whole like flight, and then at the end of it, he was like, "Oh," somebody like leaned over and was like, "I'm so sorry, but I'm a really big fan." And I've been chatting to him for the whole flight journey, and I was like, "Big fan of what?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm a lead singer of the Sheepdogs." And I was like, "What?" What? I know, crazy that. I know. You meet interesting people. Always speak to people, like no matter where you are.
Yeah, I think like if you're going Canada, it could be any of the unis offered in Canada. Just yap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even introverted, just strike up the most borderline like, how is the weather? You know, that kind of conversation, and then you'll get on to like the socio-economic policies of Canada by the end. I feel like I learned a bit about Canadian politics from nothing from there. Yeah.
Just
good
conversation.
Stuff happening there. Yeah.
My thing was like Uber drivers. Every Uber driver I had was from somewhere different in the world, and I was just asking them so many questions about their families and their culture and where they're from, and I learned so much about so many different cultures just from my Uber drivers.
Yeah, I really like the Uber drivers there. It's a good
lovely,
point.
Aren't they?
They're really nice.
Getting the like, is that a British accent I hear?
Like, oh yeah.
Or they'll be like, are you Australian? I'm like, no, babes.
I had this.
Yeah.
People thought I was Australian.
It's like, what?
I know like linguistically British and Australian there's not like that big of a difference, but come on, like, you know, Hugh Jackman does not sound like Hugh Grant, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a distinct sound.
Are you Australian? No, like, I'm English. Oh, sorry, you just sounded so exciting. You know?
To be fair, like when I speak to them, I can't tell the difference between North American and American. I struggle with it.
I think it took time for me to notice the difference between like your average like North American accent and because it does sound just like the most stereotypical American accent you hear, but then you kind of like the way they say the O's is like, okay. I picked up on like especially my some of my lecturers, they would go like Suri. They would actually go into the Suri, which is a bit more stronger. Some people had stronger accents, some people didn't, but I think they kind of elongate their O's a bit differently. I think I kind of picked up on it, but it took time. And I was like, they just sound like stereotypical Americans. And then, no, they're different, these Torontonians.
Just a bit different.
Bit different.
If you could describe the impact of studying abroad in one word or phrase, what would it be and why?
Take your time, I think, for a phrase. Take your time, like, literally seize your time. It almost, seize your time. That's a better phrase, I think, than take your time. Because take your time, it's like dawdle along, do it. Like literally take what you have, the 4 months or even a year that you're given. A year might seem like a lot, but like, what do you want to see when you're there? I wanted to see Vancouver. I didn't have the money. Didn't have the money to do that. But do what you have to do. Like, there was so much that I remember. Like, I was coming back from a date, right? Oh yeah, go on dates. Do it. It's fun. You're more likely to go on dates in Canada. After a date, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen Casa Loma. I am here for another week. I went back early. This is crazy. I actually left the date early. I could have actually stayed over or spent a bit more time with her, but I was like, I've got a lecture like kind of early in the morning. I'm gonna go. And then on the subway back, I'm like, I never went Casa Loma. When am I going to get time to go to Casa Loma? And I was like, looking at my phone, like, oh my gosh, schedule. I'm leaving in like a week and a bit. I'm busy all these days. Screw it. So instead of having more date time like a normal person, I got off at a subway, scurried over to I changed lines, scurried over to Casa Loma and had a good look at it. I was like, there we go. And then I got an Uber.
Has to be done though. Casa Loma's
It is awesome. And
I only
also,
saw
like,
it in Halloween.
as a film student, I love Scott Pilgrim. I think that's an awesome film, and it's like my favourite film. So I had to see it. You know, I couldn't not see it. So, sorry for abandoning a date.
Yeah, sorry if you're listening.
If you're listening, sorry for abandoning to go see.
He was seizing time.
I wasn't planning on doing that. I just remembered that I needed to do that. That's like one of the saddest things I've done.
I don't think that's sad. I would have done the same thing and I'd been like, I'm so sorry. It's been so nice.
So nice. Really cool castle over there. Bye.
Gotta go see the castle. Bye.
Yeah. But yeah, seize your time. I think it's a nice phrase.
Bro, what advice would you give to future students that are thinking about studying abroad, especially those that are in creative fields?
Do it. You should do it. You should go at it with a money plan. Like you think like, oh, I'll be fine. You're not really. In fact, I felt jealous of those Dutch students. I don't know if you were.
Why were they so rich?
Because their government kept giving them more money. Like,
Is that what it was?
So the Dutch government, I forgot exactly what it is, but unis like work placements and schemes.
So Danish as well. My best friend was Danish there. She got paid.
Danish. They're basically paid to go abroad, which is crazy. But they like doing that because it's good for international commerce. If they send students from an early age to another country to study abroad, it's good because not only does it look good on their CV, but it can work to better links between governments. It's something that our country should be doing more.
Definitely.
But it meant the Dutch students are like, yeah, I'll pay for this stupidly expensive bottle of alcohol or vodka or whatever, and then we'll pass it around.
They were so rich. I did think that. I was like, why are all the Danish and the Dutch guys were like spending so much money?
I don't even think they're like from like. I think Netherlands is not like a very economically weak country, but like same with the Danish, like they just kept being given money. I don't think they were necessarily like rich students. I think they just
got the money.
And
for
also,
it.
if you're just given money for the exchange, like you might as well get use of it.
Oh, I'd be
but
like,
for us, we are not in that fortunate situation. So even when you're going on nights out with them, and you might think, yeah, go on, it's an expensive city. You gotta you gotta think sometimes like, okay, do I go out? Okay, let's be careful with the meal plan.
Yeah.
Like, I found out that you can. Humber gives you like money for like printing and stuff. You can put like and other funds. You can put that money into your meal plan as well. Research the life hacks. You know, like be careful with money because it's always finite. From a creative point of view, involve yourself in everything. Canadian film students were always making projects like outside of class and just having fun. Like we would, go see films. Go to as a film student. Or media student in general. Go to the Toronto International Film Festival cinema.
Yes.
It's like their BFI. Yeah, I'd like to visit when the film festival's going because it is one of the best on the planet. But
amazing.
they also show films not in the film festival. So I went there a lot with friends and they show like releases that you don't normally see in the big cineplexes.
Yeah, like short films and like
short
smaller
film festivals.
film companies.
It is so cool there. There's so like they have a nice film scene, but also just a nice creative museum scene. Like we went to an art museum. We went to a bunch of other weird artsy places. Like there's so many nice areas of that city. Like thinking about it, just go out. I'd say like that's another piece of advice.
Yeah.
It's not like you got to take a few streetcars or a subway or even a kind of a pricey Uber, but still actively go see the city itself. Like Etobicoke, your area, like the Lakeshore campus is pretty. North Campus is actually cool to visit.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like, the little gardens they've got and everything.
Yeah,
it's quite nice.
It's more aesthetically pleasing than our one, but it's also more of an annoying location to get to.
Yeah.
Like the Etobicoke area is not like that grand or impressive, so don't just be hunkered in your room because that's not experiencing this amazing opportunity that you have.
Exactly.
It's like carpe diem, seize the day, go out with the other exchange students and just go wild. Don't go too wild. just taking that back a bit. You don't want to like burn yourself out and be super hungover in Canada because it's not always the best. But
it's all about balance because you also want to make a good impression on the uni there and do the work.
Oh yeah, of course.
Stand out with them as well because
it's that balance because I with current Salford, like I have like almost a motto that it's really hard to have all three, like job, friends, work. It's really hard to balance that. When you're away on your exchange, I think you're literally legally not allowed to work. If you find money, that's awesome, right? If you find some sort of income that's legal, that's awesome. That's legal.
That's legal. Keyword.
But you will have time for friends and work.
Yeah.
You will probably have to set aside time to be like, okay, this is the work week. This is when I've got to shoot some stuff, or I've got to do a bunch of essays or whatever. But you will also have time for friends, and it is trying to find that balance. And even if it's just chilling in the common room, doing work with friends, do it, Yeah.
Definitely. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing before you left for Canada, what would it be?
Ooh, time travel to my previous self.
Yes. We're going back to the past Toby now.
Don't drink as much at New Year's, because the flight's going to be real rough. That's one. I mean, I'd obviously comfort myself saying, like, you're going to love it. Treat your friends, especially when you're saying goodbye, treat it like you're never going to see them again in a way. Almost like hold them close as like a finite group, I'd say. Like, you're going to meet some amazing people, and yeah, maybe you'll meet down the road. Like, I've seen Siraj, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, I'd like to see my Canadian friends again. I don't know when.
It's expensive.
Money's a problem with us students, but maybe when we're all older and we've got income and families and whatnot, we can all see each other again. But, life's not exactly like that. So hold on to how finite your relationship is going to be with them, because that's what makes it special. It's not like, at uni, of course I'm going to see my friends again, and also you've got like 3 years to get sick and tired of them.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's a bit different. It's like 4 months is the.
There's an expiry date on the friendship.
It's an expiry date on the friendship. There is, and you've kind of. It's almost like my advice would be, get very attached. Get very attached instead of you would think, because the friendship might be brief. You might think, oh, the expiry. Don't get attached. Like completely like. You're going to love these people, right? And it's going to be sad to say bye, but that's why it's special. Yeah. So I'd say hold on to those relationships if I told myself a bit more, On that plane back, I was so glad I was on the same flight as him. That was awesome to find out. Yeah. When we were like seeing us go, it was just like, damn,
It's mad, isn't
and then we were like, oh, what should we watch now? Oh, let's put on Trolls World Tour, and like,
Stop. Trolls World Tour.
We were scrolling through for like a good few minutes, right? We managed to like, it was actually not that busy a flight, so we managed to like kind of sit together, and we were looking through the options, and we were like, let's watch something together, Siraj, at the same time. And we were scrolling through, and then I stopped at Trolls World Tour, and I turned over to Siraj, and I'm like, hey Siraj, what do you think about this? And we were like, yeah. And then we were, maybe it's because you get kind of loopy on planes a little bit, but we were digging it. We were like laughing, slapping our knees. It was a quality flight experience. It flew by as well, actually, that flight back. Yeah.
Pardon the pun. Those are the best plane journeys, when you just get giggly and stupid.
It was a weird little trip. It's a blur. Like, I say it, like, how I speak about it is like it was a week. Right, like a crazy week, but it was 4 months of a little life, right? And it flew by, but at the same time, like 4 months is not a short amount of time, is it?
No, it's weird. It's like you have an expiry date for how long you're there, and you want to make the most of it, and then you're also trying to like live in the moment and just like. There's
so much going on. Like, time's moving quick, but it's also moving slow. It's what's happening, I remember a few weeks in, we're like, oh, we've only been here for like 3-4 weeks. It feels like we've been here longer,
I have to look at pictures and videos to make it feel real sometimes.
Yeah.
I think back on it and I'm like, that didn't feel like it ever happened. Like, it's such a blur now.
Some of those nights, I'm like, what happened?
What did I even do that day? I wish I kept like a detailed journal. Like, I journaled a little bit, but I wish I kept like a detailed diary so I could see every day what I did.
If I could have a documentary crew follow me about during it, it probably wouldn't be very interesting for anyone apart from me. But, how cool that would be to
look back
show your change. And there's probably there's probably like personality changes, right? There's probably some sort of maturity or something, but I can't really place it, you know. I don't know what happened. I felt different. England didn't feel the same. I don't even know if it didn't feel the same necessarily a good way or a bad way. I don't even know if like I don't think everything's like worse now because Canada's so cool, right?
Yeah.
But it feels more like our life, our like little UK world is so small compared to everything, because that was a big country and we saw only like a little percentage of it, right? And we think in this country like, it's just so important, you know, everything that we do is so important. And when our referendum happens, it's like, oh, it's massive, this is going to change everything. Like it's not. We are such a small little island, you know. We are. Yeah.
We're small little island.
We're such a small little island. We're so tiny. Yeah.
And then you get the taste of being somewhere different, and it's like, life could be so much different if I
want to travel
else.
more.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. Like, it just made me want to see everything, good and bad. You know, like not everything in Toronto is sunshine and sparkles. They've got a lot of problems, that city. You know.
Yeah.
But you still good to see it. You know, even the warts that city has. You know.
Yeah.
It's just nice to experience it all, I think. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's been absolutely lovely.
It's been lovely as well.
I can't speak. It's been absolutely lovely having you here today and finally meet you in person as well.
Nice to be here. Oh, yeah, this is our first time actually meeting. Yeah.
We also made the trailer together, so if you've not watched it already, go on the Student Hub page.
Oh, yeah. Fun little trailer.
Yeah, or on the Instagram with all our student videos collected and put together by the lovely Toby.
Ah.
Oh, well, it's been so lovely having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well.
Episode where we'll be hearing from more of our amazing students about their overseas placements. Please like, share and subscribe to this podcast so you can hear more, and we can spread the word about our international opportunities. We'll see you next time.